She doesn't love you more because you tolerate her disrespect. She's not impressed by how much pain you can endure. The more you accept, the less she respects. You're not losing her because you're too mean. You're losing her because you're too available. You think patience will fix it. She sees weakness. Every time you bend, you teach her to break you. Every time you chase, you teach her to run. Every time you explain, you show her you're confused. Women will treat you how you let them. Comment, I set the standard if you're done being disrespected. Number 1. What you allow is what you'll get. Every situation you find yourself in is not just something that happened to you, it's something you participated in, tolerated or failed to correct when it showed signs of erosion. And in relationships, the quiet moments you choose to overlook, the comments you brush off, the days you go unseen but stay anyway, those are the seeds of your suffering. You allow the slow drip of disregard thinking it'll pass, but what you're really doing is creating a system, a rhythm where you are optional, where your needs become negotiable, and your dignity gets discounted in exchange for temporary peace. And if you're honest, you know you've traded self-respect for attention, not because you don't know your worth, but because you're afraid the world won't see it unless someone else validates it. And so you stay in dynamics where she interrupts you mid-sentence and you laugh, where she flakes on plans without notice and you excuse it, where her inconsistency becomes the norm and you make adjustments instead of exits. And every time you stay, you reinforce the blueprint. You're telling her through inaction that her bare minimum is enough. And the truth is, if you're not establishing what's unacceptable, you're confirming what's allowed. And she adapts, not because she's cruel or calculated, but because people learn through experience. They calibrate based on your response or your lack of it. And when you respond with silence, continued effort, or justification for her patterns, the behavior doesn't just continue, it multiplies. She learns that distance will be met with pursuit, coldness with warmth, emotional detachment with your increased availability, and now you're stuck in a role you never auditioned for, the one who always tries harder, and the more you try, the more she retreats, not because she wants you to fail, but because the value she places on you drops each time you place her on a pedestal above your peace. And this isn't about hate, bitterness, or revenge. It's about understanding dynamics that destroy your self-worth. If you're not awake to them, you've likely confused endurance with strength, telling yourself that holding on proves commitment, that being understanding makes you a better partner. But what it often does is turn you into someone who no longer recognizes his own standards. And you know this when your gut twists in the middle of a conversation that you let slide again, when you replay moments in your head, thinking of all the things you should have said, when you feel like you're begging to be chosen despite showing up fully. And that's where the shift must happen, not in her behavior, but in your boundaries, because what you allow is what you become complicit in. And the longer you delay that standard, the more your self-respect decays under the weight of unspoken expectations, because expectations don't correct behavior. Boundaries do. And a boundary doesn't have to be shouted. It doesn't need to come with ultimatums. It's a quiet declaration made through action. I don't operate in places where I'm not seen, and that might mean not responding to a message that comes 3 days late. It might mean declining plans that only serve her convenience. It might mean not just walking away, but closing the door and locking it behind you without leaving it open for her return when she feels like it. And yes, it will feel uncomfortable, especially if your self-worth has been tied to fixing, proving, or pleasing. But discomfort is where new standards are born, where you reintroduce yourself not through force, but through clarity, where the version of you that knows peace is not something to beg for, but something to preserve emerges. And she will notice, maybe not immediately, but people always notice when access is cut off, when effort is no longer one-sided, when you go from being predictable to principled. And here's what happens next. The ones who valued you only for what you gave will drift, but the ones who respect you will rise. And that's not a threat, it's a filter, because the standard you uphold becomes the energy you attract, not because the universe aligns with your confidence, but because your energy repels situations that don't match your new identity. And that's what most don't understand about setting a standard. It's not about changing people, it's about changing the type of people you attract by refusing to make space for the ones who undervalue you. And it all starts the moment you stop tolerating what drains you, when you stop confusing her emotional chaos as passion, her passive aggressiveness as personality, her inconsistency as complexity, because you deserve to be in dynamics that are rooted in stability, not suspense in clarity, not confusion in effort, not excuses. But you'll never have that if you keep explaining your worth instead of enforcing it. And for those who think this means being harsh, closed off, or unloving, understand this. The most loving thing you can do for yourself and those around you is to define what you won't entertain. Because when your presence comes with peace, boundaries, and clarity, people either rise to meet it or reveal they never valued you to begin with. And both are blessings, but you'll never see them if you stay in dynamics that reward disrespect with your continued presence. And if you're tired of the same cycles, of feeling invisible, of wondering why your loyalty isn't reciprocated, the answer is not in trying harder, it's in allowing less, in removing your energy from places that only drain you, in standing firm when tested, in speaking less and enforcing more. Because if people only respect you when you're angry or distant, they never respected you. They feared your reaction, and you don't want fear, you want respect. And that starts the moment you decide you're done managing disrespect with hope, done pleading through patience, done negotiating with your peace, and finally ready to choose yourself without apology, because what you allow is not just what you get, it's what you become. And if you're becoming smaller, quieter, weaker to keep someone close, understand this. That connection isn't love. It's your fear disguised as a relationship. And now it's time to reclaim your role, to set a new rhythm, to show her, not tell her, who you are by what you no longer engage with. Because your time, energy, and love are currencies. And the moment you stop giving them to places that can't afford your value, your life begins to shift. Not because she changed, but because you did. And that change is the standard. And once you've made it, you never go back, because something in you wakes up, something steady, calm, and unshakable. And if that part of you is ready to rise, then now is the time to take it further. The Stoic Relationship. Blueprint is not just a book, it's a blueprint for how to live, lead, and love without losing yourself. Built on timeless Stoic principles designed specifically for men who are done tolerating chaos and craving clarity, this book shows you exactly how to reclaim your power, set unbreakable standards, and build relationships that reflect your worth. And now, it's available in audiobook format, so you can listen to it while walking, training, clearing your mind, or taking back your focus. No more excuses. You don't have to wait to read it at home. You can carry this knowledge with you everywhere, whenever you need to be reminded of who you are and what you stand for. Once it's yours, it's always yours. Lifelong access to tools that shift how the world responds to you. Ask yourself, how much longer are you willing to tolerate what drains you? What would your life look like if you had a framework that made you unshakable? It's linked in the comments. Get it, own it, and start leading from your core. Number 2. Respect is set by standards, not words. You keep telling her what you expect. You keep repeating the same lines about respect and honesty and effort, thinking your words are enough to build the structure of a healthy relationship. But the reality is, the more you talk about what you want without showing it through action, the more invisible your voice becomes to her. She hears you, but she doesn't believe you, not because she's stubborn or blind, but because you haven't backed your words with any form of conviction. And the hard truth is that in this world, and especially in relationships, people don't respond to what you say. They respond to what you enforce. And if your words say one thing but your actions tell a different story, she will follow the message your behavior sends. So when you say you won't tolerate being lied to, but you stay the second she cries and apologizes, she learns that your boundaries bend under pressure. When you tell her you don't chase, but then double text and try to fix things every time she withdraws, you teach her that pulling away is how to gain control. And when you say you want mutual respect, but tolerate sarcasm disguised as jokes, backhanded compliments, being compared to others, or treated like an afterthought, you train her to treat you like an option, because your standard isn't in what you demand, it's in what you continue to accept. And the more you accept, the more the bar drops. And soon, you're living in a version of a relationship where your words carry no weight, your needs become background noise, and your time is consistently devalued. And still you think that maybe if you explain more, if you communicate better, if you're more understanding, she'll finally get it. But she already gets it. She understands perfectly. She's responding to the system you've built. A system where your consistency is predictable and her inconsistency is tolerated. And the longer you stay in that loop, the more you lose yourself in the performance of love without the presence of respect. And you can't build anything lasting where respect is not the foundation. And respect doesn't come from raising your voice, doesn't come from long monologues about what you deserve. It comes from walking away from anything that doesn't match your self-worth. And that's the part most can't do, because walking away means letting go of the illusion, of the potential, of the version of her you're still holding onto that might someday rise to meet your love. But love without respect is empty. And if you're not willing to enforce that truth, you'll be used up by someone who only knows how to take, because she doesn't respond to your kindness. She responds to your consequences, not because she's evil or broken, but because people naturally expand into the space you allow them. And if that space is unlimited access no matter the behavior, if it's guaranteed forgiveness after every betrayal, if it's emotional support without reciprocation, you become the emotional safety net for someone who isn't afraid to fall. And you carry the weight of a dynamic that was never mutual, and then wonder why you feel so drained, so unseen, so confused. It's because you've confused hope with a standard, and hoping someone will change is not a strategy. It's a slow erosion of your boundaries disguised as patience, and you can't teach someone to respect you by explaining why you're hurt. You teach them by making it clear that hurting you costs access, costs connection, costs presence, not as manipulation, but as principle. Because if being close to you comes with no accountability, then your value becomes conditional on her moods. And that's how you lose not just her respect, but your own identity. And once that happens, every word you say feels hollow, because even you don't believe them anymore. And the only way to reset the standard is to stop talking about it and start living it. If you say you don't tolerate inconsistency, then you stop answering when she shows up only when it's convenient. If you say you don't tolerate disrespect, then you stop sitting across from it trying to prove your worth to someone who already decided to ignore it. And yes, this will cost you. It will cost you the version of the relationship where you were always trying. It will cost you the moments of closeness that were built on imbalance. It will cost you the fantasy that if you just give a little more, it'll finally click. But what you gain is priceless. You gain your time back, your peace back, your self-respect back. And that's the currency real relationships are built on. And the people who deserve to be in your life won't need to be reminded of that standard. They'll meet it. Not because you forced them to, but because your energy, your presence, your consistency will only attract those who speak the same emotional language and the rest. They'll fall away, not in drama, not in conflict, but in silence. Because people who can't manipulate you will exit your life when they realize access requires responsibility. And that's when you'll realize that the power you thought you lost trying to make things work was never gone. It was buried under compromise, under explanation, under the desire to be loved by someone who doesn't even respect themselves enough to treat others well. And now you're done lowering yourself to be liked, done explaining basic decency, done arguing for value you bring by existing. And that shift, that internal decision, that change in behavior, is how you reclaim your standard, not with words, but with detachment from anything that doesn't honor the values you live by, because in the end, your standard is your compass, and the relationships that survive are the ones that walk the same path. Not because you begged, but because you led. And leading is never loud. It's not demanding. It's quiet, decisive, still. It's in the pause between disrespect and response. It's in the silence that follows when you don't show up for the game. It's in the refusal to keep teaching someone who refuses to learn. And that's when they feel the shift. Not when you argue, not when you explain, but when your absence speaks the truth. Your presence used to cover up, because your words were loud, but your standards weren't. And now that's reversed, and everything starts to change the moment you stop trying to change her and start changing the access. Because access is everything, and what you allow consistently becomes your identity. So if you want to change how people treat you, don't speak louder. Enforce better. Not with aggression, not with resentment, but with a calm that says, I've made peace with walking away from anything that doesn't reflect who I am. And that, more than any speech, more than any request, is what sets the standard. Number 3, stop rewarding bad behavior. You say you're tired of the games, tired of being misunderstood, tired of having to explain what should already be obvious, and yet the cycle repeats itself. Not because she's some master manipulator, but because you never stopped playing along, and whether you want to admit it or not, she's not the only one responsible for the dysfunction. You're just as much a contributor every time you respond to disrespect with kindness, every time you validate emotional withdrawal with more effort, every time you confuse emotional chaos for passion, and then double down to try and fix what should have been walked away from. Because the ugly truth is this: when you comfort disrespect, you reward it. When you show up for someone who only reaches out when they need something, you train them to see you as a tool, not a partner. And when you allow inconsistency to be met with consistency, you become the safety net for someone who's never feared falling, and now you wonder why you're exhausted, why your needs feel like a burden, why your silence is never noticed until you start pulling away. And it's because you created a system where your presence is expected regardless of behavior. And the more you give without requirement, the more the value of your effort decreases in her eyes. Not because effort is unattractive, but because unearned effort sends a message. I don't need you to meet me halfway. I'll crawl the entire distance if I have to, and in doing so, you create a dangerous precedent. Because now she knows your standard bends, that she can offer less and still keep you close. That emotional distance will be met with your emotional labor, and so she never has to be accountable, never has to improve, never has to change, because you're doing all the work for both of you. And maybe deep down, you believe that if you love harder, if you stay longer, if you prove yourself enough, she'll finally wake up and see your value. But that's not how it works. Because people don't fall in love with desperation, they fall in love with standards. And when you reward her coldness with warmth, her silence with attention, her distance with pursuit, you reverse the natural flow of respect and turn yourself into a doormat dressed like a savior. And I know you're tired of feeling like the only one trying, like you're carrying both your emotions and hers. like you're always the one who has to apologize, explain, rebuild. But the reason she keeps taking is because you keep giving with no conditions, no requirements, no pause to ask if she's even capable of giving back. And this is where the harsh lesson comes in. If access to you doesn't cost her anything, she'll never value it. And the only way to change that is to remove access where behavior doesn't match your standard, not as punishment, not to hurt her, but to protect yourself, to preserve your peace, to stop being the emotional punching bag for someone who treats you like an afterthought unless you're doing something for her. And maybe you're thinking, what if she changes when I leave? What if she finally becomes everything I hoped for? And the answer is simple. If she does, good. She can apply that growth to someone else. Because your healing isn't her reward, and you didn't endure disrespect to become the stepping stone for someone else's evolution. You deserve to be with someone who doesn't need to lose you to realize your worth. And you'll never experience that kind of dynamic if you keep giving chances to people who only apologize when consequences appear. Because apologies without change are just tactics, and change without consistency is just manipulation. And you're not here to be managed, you're here to be respected. And if she can't do that, let her go. Not with anger, not with resentment, but with certainty that you're no longer available for dynamics that drain you, for emotional roller coasters disguised as love, for one-sided effort that leaves you depleted while she thrives on your tolerance. And this shift doesn't happen through conversations. It happens through action, through not texting back when she ghosts you for days and resurfaces like nothing happened, through not being available when her interest suddenly spikes only after you stop giving, through refusing to explain why basic respect is a requirement, not a request, because you're not here to teach someone how to treat you while being disrespected in the process. And if you are, then you're not looking for a partner. You're looking for someone to heal through, and that's a dangerous game, because no matter how patient, loving or understanding you are, if she only responds when there's a threat of losing you, then she never valued you. She feared the consequences of your absence, and that's not the same as love. That's not the same as care. That's not what you deserve. And yes, setting this kind of boundary will make you feel alone at first, but you're not actually losing her. You're losing the version of you that tolerated being mistreated to feel loved, and what you gain in return is immeasurable. Peace, clarity, power, the kind that doesn't need to be loud or explained, the kind that simply refuses to entertain what no longer aligns with your growth. And the beauty of this shift is that you don't need to announce it. The way you stop showing up, stop responding, stop chasing, stop justifying will speak volumes, and those who truly care will rise. Those who never did will fall away. And both outcomes are in your favor, because your energy is not infinite. Your patience is not a weakness. Your love is not something to be thrown at people who can't even meet you halfway. And the minute you start acting like someone who actually deserves the things you keep asking for, you'll stop needing to beg for them, and she'll either adapt or disappear. And either way, you win. Number 4, respect starts with you. Most men aren't disrespected by accident. They're disrespected because they've made disrespect a comfortable experience for others. And what makes this truth hard to swallow is that it means looking in the mirror and asking the kind of questions that don't come with easy answers, like how many times have you stayed quiet just to keep her happy? How often have you said, "It's fine," when deep down it wasn't? How long have you been the one fixing everything while she sits back and does the bare minimum? Because this isn't about her being cruel. It's about you being willing to abandon yourself just to avoid rocking the boat. And the longer that goes on, the more you teach her that your standards are flexible, your time is optional, and your emotional well-being is negotiable. And that's not love. That's neglect you've learned to normalize, and it becomes your reality, not because you don't know better, but because you've been conditioned to see self-respect as arrogance and detachment as weakness, when in fact, they're the foundation of peace. And peace is not something you stumble into. It's something you create when you finally stop entertaining every situation that tests your patience, insults your intelligence, or drains your energy. And that shift starts internally, because most men live as if they're waiting for permission to lead their own lives. They wait for her to notice they're hurting, to suddenly start appreciating all the sacrifices, to apologize first, to take accountability, to start loving them the right way. But that's the trap. The illusion that you need someone else to change before you do. When in reality, everything you're waiting for starts with how you see yourself. Because if you view yourself as someone worth chasing, worth listening to, worth respecting, then you no longer feel the need to beg for the bare minimum. You begin to move differently, speak less, observe more, give access only to those who earn it. And slowly the world starts to reflect back the value you've decided is non-negotiable. And this doesn't happen through rage, through yelling, through confrontation. It happens through detachment, through clarity, through standards enforced in silence, through your ability to walk away from conversations that go nowhere, from relationships that drain you, from people who only show up when it's convenient for them. And every time you do, you remind yourself that your energy is not a resource for people to casually waste. It's a privilege, and when you treat it like one, others have no choice but to do the same. Because the man who respects himself isn't loud, isn't desperate, isn't seeking validation. He simply doesn't entertain anything beneath his values. And that's rare. That's what makes it powerful, because most are addicted to being needed, to being chosen, to being approved of, so they sacrifice their peace to keep the wrong people close, and then wonder why they're always tired, always confused, always questioning their worth. But your worth isn't a question when you live by principle, when you choose structure over chaos, when you stop explaining why you're pulling away and just do it, when you stop asking for effort and start matching energy, when you stop settling for being understood and instead demand to be respected, not with force, not with emotion, but with action. Because the most powerful shift in a man's life doesn't come when he changes someone else. It comes when he finally refuses to betray himself. And that moment looks like deleting the message you were going to send, canceling the plan you felt obligated to attend, ignoring the call that only comes when she's bored, saying no without explaining, setting a boundary without defending it, choosing solitude over a relationship that makes you question your value every day. And these aren't small things, they're monumental, because each one chips away at the version of you that needed to be chosen to feel whole, that needed to be liked to feel worthy, that needed to be needed to feel valuable. And what replaces that version is someone who no longer tolerates inconsistency, no longer tolerates excuses, no longer romanticizes dysfunction, because he's finally aligned with his values, not just in theory, but in practice. And alignment isn't loud, it's silent. It's the way you wake up earlier because you respect your time, the way you say less because you don't need to be understood to be certain, the way you leave when it no longer feels right, instead of waiting for closure that never comes. The way you stay calm when she tries to provoke a reaction and simply remove yourself because you're not here to argue. You're here to build, to lead, to create. And the second someone proves they can't be part of that process without destroying your peace, they lose access. Not because you're angry, but because you're done proving yourself to people who can't see past their own ego. And in that silence, they feel it, the shift, the loss, the realization that the man who once tolerated everything now tolerates nothing that dishonors his peace. And by then it's too late. Not because you wanted it to be, but because you've finally become someone who doesn't negotiate with disrespect. And what follows is a life that reflects that. Not perfect, not always easy, but peaceful, honest, fulfilling. Because you've learned that respect starts with the man in the mirror, not in the mouths of people who only value you when they need something. And that's when you stop chasing, stop proving, stop performing, and start being. And being is enough when it's grounded in truth, in boundaries, in self-respect. And if you want someone to meet you there, make sure it's someone who doesn't require you to shrink, to stay silent, to settle, because real connection never demands you become less to be loved more. It meets you where you are, and if they can't, that's not your loss. It's your lesson. And once you've learned it, you never go back, not because you're bitter, but because you're healed, and a healed man respects himself too much to repeat what broke him. Number 5, walk away. Power is everything. Walking away isn't about ego, it isn't about proving a point, and it isn't about making a scene. It's about protecting the version of yourself that you've spent too long sacrificing just to keep someone around who doesn't value it. And the hardest truth most avoid is that the fear of being alone is the exact reason they stay somewhere they know they're not respected, not prioritized, not even truly seen. And the moment that fear controls you, everything about you becomes negotiable. Your time, your energy, your identity, your principles, all of it gets compromised, one conversation at a time, one "it's okay" at a time, one ignored red flag at a time, and now you're left questioning why you don't feel like yourself anymore. But the answer is sitting in the reflection of all the times you wanted to walk but didn't, all the times you knew it wasn't right, but stayed anyway, all the times you gave more and got less, and convinced yourself love was about endurance when it was always supposed to be about alignment. And it never starts big. It starts small, with a little comment that crossed the line, with a moment where she looked at you like you were less, a passive dig at your worth that you laughed off, a pattern of withdrawal that became normal, and you didn't walk, not because you didn't notice, but because part of you thought staying would fix it, that staying would earn the love you weren't receiving, that if you just proved you were loyal enough, patient enough, kind enough, she'd finally see your worth and meet you there. And now here you are, emotionally broke, drained, disconnected from your own power, thinking something's wrong with you because every effort leads to more distance. Every expression of love gets taken for granted. Every boundary gets treated like a challenge. And what you haven't realized is that she doesn't respect you, not because she's incapable, but because you've shown her that her behavior has no consequences. And people rarely change in environments where there are no consequences. They evolve when they're forced to face themselves through the absence of the person they kept taking for granted. And walking away is the only language some people understand. Not because it's meant to hurt them, but because it's the only thing that makes them confront the truth that you were the constant they never earned. And this is where your strength is born, not in staying and enduring, but in leaving and reclaiming your identity, because the man who is willing to walk away is the man who is never controlled, never manipulated, never stuck in dynamics that destroy him slowly. And she knows it too. She knows when she can lose you and when she can't. And if you're the type that always forgives, always comes back, always explains, always waits, then you've trained her to view your presence as a given, and nothing loses value faster than what is always available. And I know the pain that comes from walking, the silence, the empty bed, the way you keep picking up your phone to check if she finally realized what she lost. But I also know what happens if you don't. I know the emotional hell of staying too long, of waking up one day and not recognizing the man in the mirror, of seeing yourself tolerate things you swore you never would. And the worst part, no one comes to save you from that. No one reaches in to pull you out. You have to choose it. You have to look at the pattern, the imbalance, the disrespect, and decide that your peace is no longer up for negotiation, and that decision will cost you. It will cost you connection, affection, comfort, and the illusion that love is supposed to hurt, but what you get in return is priceless. You get yourself back, and in that silence, in that space, something happens. You begin to heal in ways you never could when you were constantly trying to be enough for someone who didn't even know what they wanted. You begin to build standards not based on who stays, but based on who shows up right, consistently, without being begged, without being reminded, without needing to be convinced. And that's when everything changes, because when a man learns to walk, not out of anger but out of awareness, not out of resentment but out of respect for his own value, his energy shifts, and that shift repels everything that once drained him. Because now he's not chasing, not pleading, not adjusting his worth to fit into someone else's lack of vision. And she will notice, not when you leave in rage, but when you leave in silence, when your absence starts speaking louder than your explanations ever did, when she realizes that the man who once gave endlessly now gives to himself, and that's a power no one can take from you, because it's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's not meant to punish, it's meant to protect. And when you have that kind of power, you become rare, because most are too afraid to lose what they have, even if what they have is killing them. Most would rather stay broken than be alone. Most would rather chase closure from people who never cared than create peace through separation. And that's why so many are stuck, not because they don't know what to do, but because doing it requires letting go of who they were when they tolerated everything. And letting go of that version is terrifying, but it's also necessary, because everything you want, respect, connection, purpose, sits on the other side of your ability to let go of what insults your soul. And the longer you hold on to someone who disrespects your peace, the longer you delay the arrival of someone who would honor it. And that person might not even be another woman. It might be you, the you that exists when you finally stop asking for love in places that only offer pain. The you that thrives in solitude, that builds, that creates, that leads. And when you become that man, your life reflects it, not because everyone suddenly treats you better, but because you refuse to tolerate anything less. And that kind of life starts the moment you stop explaining why you're leaving and start walking without looking back. Not because you don't care, but because you finally do, about yourself. If you've made it this far, you already know nobody's coming to save you. Society doesn't want you grounded. It doesn't want you strong, respected, or untouchable. It wants you agreeable, distracted, emotionally manipulated, and wasting years trying to please people who never respected you in the first place. But now you know the truth, and you either act or keep living the lie. The Stoic relationship blueprint is the reset you were never supposed to find. It's built for men ready to reclaim power, destroy weak patterns, and live by unbreakable standards rooted in timeless Stoic principles. And now, it's also an audiobook. No more excuses. You can listen while walking, driving, training, transforming. Once it's yours for life. This knowledge never leaves you. So if you're ready to live with standards that silence disrespect forever, comment, "I choose peace over chaos" below, like this video, and subscribe to help another man escape years of regret. The book is linked in the comments. Own it now, before the world tells you to forget everything you just learned.